Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Bhattacharya, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a three-nation visit to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana. Terrorists do not terrorize India anymore. Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit in New Delhi. US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping to meet in Lima on the sidelines of the APEC summit. And in cricket, India registers its biggest ever win against South Africa. Win the fourth T20 International by 135 runs, clinch the series 3-1. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarked on a 5-day visit to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana. In the first leg of his visit, the Prime Minister is visiting Nigeria from the 16th to the 17th of November. Prime Minister Modi is visiting the West African nation on the invitation of Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This will be his first visit to Nigeria, which is India's close partner in the West African region. Prime Minister Modi's visit aims to strengthen bilateral trade between the two countries and work closely on people-to-people contacts. India established its diplomatic mission in Lagos in 1958, 2 years before Nigeria's independence. In his departure statement, Prime Minister Modi said that his visit to Nigeria will be an opportunity to build upon strategic partnership that is based on shared belief in democracy and pluralism. PM said he was eagerly looking forward to meeting the Indian community and friends from Nigeria who have sent him warm welcome messages in Hindi. In Brazil, the Prime Minister will attend the 19th G20 summit. PM Modi is visiting Guyana at the invitation of President Mohammad Irfan Ali. This will be the first ever visit of an Indian Prime Minister in over 50 years. During the visit, the Prime Minister will also join leaders from the Caribbean partner countries for the second India CARICOM summit. The summit will enable the leaders to renew historical ties and expand cooperation into new domains. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit in New Delhi. There he released a commemorative stamp to celebrate 100 years of Hindustan Times. As part of the HT Summit exhibition, PM Modi saw pictures of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and said there was a time when the people felt unsafe in their own houses and cities due to the terror sponsored by neighboring countries. The Prime Minister highlighted that now the times have changed and terrorists in their own houses don't feel safe. Speaking at the summit, PM Modi further said that our aim is to create a new India.
उसका उद्देश्य एक बड़ा है, विराट है, व्यापक है. हम प्रोग्रेस ऑफ द पीपल, प्रोग्रेस बाय द पीपल, प्रोग्रेस फॉर द पीपल के मंत्र को लेकर चल रहे हैं. हमारा उद्देश्य नया भारत बनाने का है, भारत को विकसित बनाने का है. और जब हम इस विराट लक्ष्य को लेकर निकल पड़े हैं, तो भारत की जनता ने भी हमें अपने विश्वास की पूंजी सौंपी है.
PM Modi further added that investment should generate employment.
इन्वेस्टमेंट हो, इन्वेस्टमेंट से एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हो, डेवलपमेंट हो, और वो डेवलपमेंट भारत के नागरिकों की डिग्निटी बढ़ाए, डिग्निटी सुनिश्चित करें.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the first Bodoland Mahotsav at Delhi's Sai Indira Gandhi Complex for Sports on Friday. The two-day event celebrates Bodo language, literature and culture, focusing on peace and unity while showcasing Bodoland's rich heritage. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya files this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the first Bodoland Mahotsav at Delhi's Sai Indira Gandhi Sports Complex, marking a historic celebration of Bodo language, literature and culture. With the theme Peace and Harmony for Prosperous Bharat, the celebration is also a testament to the transformative impact of the 2020 Bodo Peace Accord signed under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Prime Minister hailed the accord, calling it a new path of development in the entire Northeast.
आप पल भर सोचिए, कोई मां उसका इकलौता बेटा और उस मां ने बहुत लालन पालन से बड़ा किया हो बेटे को, और बेटा अन्य साथियों से मिलकर के हाथ में हथियार लेकर के मां को छोड़ करके जंगलों में भटकता हो, उसने जो राह चुनी है उसको पाने के लिए किसी की भी हत्या करने पर तुला हुआ हो, मां बेबस होकर के निराशा में दिन काट रही हो, और एक दिन पता चले कि मां तेरा बेटा उन
Opportunities in Bodoland. The mega event brings together indigenous Bodo communities from Bodoland, Assam, West Bengal, Nepal, setting a new phase of development by integrating communities, fostering harmony and building a vibrant, prosperous society. With Jaya Sinha, Tapas Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
The Speaker of the lower house of Indian Parliament, Lok Sabha, Om Birla, inaugurated the 4th Audit Diwas celebrations. And those celebrations were organized by the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India on Saturday in New Delhi. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla expressed confidence that India's CAG will become the guide of the world in the coming times, and other countries of the world will adopt India's audit system. This year's celebration marks a crucial milestone in the journey towards enhancing transparency and accountability in governance.
दुनिया के देश हमारी इस लेखिका परीक्षा का अध्ययन करने आते हैं, सीखने आते हैं और प्रयास करते हैं कि हम भारत की लेखा परीक्षा को अपने आप अपनाएं। और इसीलिए हमारी संस्था प्राइड के अंदर भी समय समय पर जब लोकसभा के कई माननीय सदस्य अधिकारी आते हैं, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ वहाँ वो भारत की सीएजी ऑडिट प्रणाली का प्रशिक्षण प्राप्त करने और सीखने के लिए भी कम से कम 50 देश के अधिकारी कर्मचारी समय समय पर भारत में आते हैं।
The Bali Jatra, or the voyage to Bali, commemorating India's historical and civilizational links with Southeast Asia and Indo-Pacific, was inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Odisha, Mohan Charan Majhi, in Cuttack on Friday. The event saw participation from ambassadors, high commissioners, diplomats and cultural troops from a large number of countries. The foreign delegates received a grand welcome in the traditional way as they recreated the voyage to Bali by taking a boat ride along the Mahanadi River, celebrating Odisha's rich maritime history. As India marks a decade of Act East policy this year, the festival also attained an international profile by participation from ASEAN, BIMSTEC and Pacific Island countries, including performances of their visiting cultural troops during the entire week. In North India's Uttar Pradesh, at least 10 infants have died and several others injured in a tragic fire incident. A massive fire broke out at the neonatal intensive care unit of Jhansi Medical College on Friday. The prima facie cause of the fire is said to be due to a short circuit. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has expressed deep sorrow over the accident and directed the Divisional Commissioner and DIG of Jhansi to submit a report regarding the incident within 12 hours. On the instructions of the Chief Minister, assistance of 5 lakh rupees each is being provided to the parents of the newborn babies who died untimely in the incident and 50,000 rupees each to the families of the injured from the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. President Draupadi Murmu has expressed deep sorrow over the tragic incident. Condoling the loss of lives of children, she extended her heartfelt sympathies to the grieving families and hoped they find the strength to cope with such an unimaginable tragedy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi too condoled the loss of lives in the fire accident at the Jhansi Medical College. In a heartfelt message on social media platform X, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "My deepest condolences to those who have lost their innocent children in this. I pray to God to give them the strength to bear this immense loss. The local administration, under the supervision of the state government, is making every possible effort for relief and rescue." Unquote. Prime Minister Modi also announced an extra issue of 2 lakh rupees from Prime Minister's National Relief Fund for the next of kin of each deceased in the fire accident, and the injured would be given 50,000 rupees. Indian economy is in a sweet spot with a mix of solid growth and moderating inflation. That's what Moody's ratings have said. And according to the reports, India's gross domestic product, or GDP, is projected to grow by 7.2% in 2024, followed by 6.6% in 2025 and 6.5% in 2026. In the second quarter of 2024, India's real GDP expanded 6.7% year-on-year, fueled by a resurgence in household consumption, increased investment and solid manufacturing activity. Indicators of economic health, including a positive manufacturing and services PMIs, robust credit growth and consumer optimism, point to continued growth in the third quarter starting September. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. The Lebanese government is reviewing a US truce proposal in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. And Germany's Olaf Scholz urges President Putin of Russia to open talks with Ukraine.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolve through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. US President-elect Donald Trump continues to nominate allies for his new White House team. Trump on Friday announced the name of Caroline Leavitt as the latest addition to his cabinet to serve as the White House press secretary. Leavitt, who previously held the role of National Press Secretary for Trump's 2024 US presidential campaign, was also part of the Trump administration as Assistant Press Secretary of the White House during his first tenure. Earlier, the US President-elect selected his campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chewing, as a White House Communications Director, as well as named Sergio Gore to lead the Presidential Personnel Office. Trump also announced on Friday that North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, his choice to head the Interior Department, will also lead a newly created National Energy Council that will seek to establish U.S. energy dominance around the world. U.S. President Joe Biden will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Peru's capital, Lima. This will be the third in-person meeting between the two leaders who met earlier in Indonesia's Bali at the G20 summit in 2022 and again in California during the APEC summit in 2023. The meeting is expected to be the last meeting between the two leaders of the two major economies. The two leaders are expected to review the bilateral relations between the two nations during the meeting. The U.S. President met with the leaders of Japan and South Korea on Friday, aiming to solidify diplomatic progress ahead of the upcoming Trump administration. The meeting was held on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Lima, Peru. Discussions focused on regional challenges, including rising tensions with North Korea, which has deployed troops to Russia in support of its conflict in Ukraine, and the nation's ongoing nuclear weapons program.
We've now reached a moment of significant political change, and I congratulate the Prime Minister for taking office, and this is likely to be my last trilateral meeting with this important group, but I'm proud to have helped be one of the parts of building this partnership. I truly believe cooperation of our countries will be the foundation to peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific for many years to come if we stay together.
In order to effectively respond to international challenges of intensifying complexity, our trilateral partnership has become more important than ever. I look forward to furthering our partnership in response against North Korea and in many other areas.
Since the Camp David Leaders Summit last year, led by President Biden, our trilateral cooperation has become and is becoming stronger every day. The trilateral cooperation now goes beyond the security, as it has developed into comprehensive and institutional cooperation that encompasses economy, advanced technologies such as AI and quantum technology, as well as exchange between future generations.
Meanwhile, on the sidelines of the APEC forum, China's President Xi Jinping met fellow Asian leaders, including Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, on Friday. Reportedly, Xi told Ishiba in their first meeting that China hoped Japan would properly handle major issues such as history and Taiwan. Whereas Ishiba, who took office in October, told Xi that Japan wanted to build a constructive and stable relationship, but expressed concerns about Chinese maritime activities. China's Xi Jinping, U.S. President Joe Biden and other world leaders gathered earlier on Friday night at Peru's National Palace for a dinner to close the 31st Asia-Pacific Economic Coordination Summit in Lima. Representatives of the APEC economies were welcomed with a folkloric performance in the patio of the National Palace after the first meeting, as Donald Trump's return loomed over. Bilateral and trilateral meetings took place throughout the day on the sidelines of the summit. Earlier, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol addressed the parallel APEC CEO summit and acknowledged the challenges that await in next year's summit, which will be hosted in South Korea. The summit will close on Saturday with the last leaders meeting and a family photograph. On to updates from West Asia now. A series of heavy Israeli airstrikes struck the southern suburbs of Beirut on Friday for the fourth consecutive day as Lebanese officials studied a U.S. plan for a ceasefire. The Lebanese government is reviewing a U.S. truce proposal in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict, nearly 2 months since cross-border clashes escalated. Ceasefire efforts spearheaded by the United States and France have so far failed to halt the hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. United States Ambassador Lisa Johnson discussed a 13-point proposal with senior Lebanese officials on Thursday. Israel has yet to respond to the plan. If an agreement is reached, Washington and Paris would issue a joint statement, followed by a 60-day truce, during which Lebanon will redeploy troops in the southern border area near Israel. Meanwhile, Iran has expressed support for any decision made by Lebanon to secure a ceasefire with Israel. Ali Larijani, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, met Lebanese officials in Beirut on Friday, the third high-profile Iranian solidarity visit since the Israel-Hezbollah conflict began in September. Speaking to the media after meeting the Lebanese Prime Minister and Parliament Speaker, Ali Larijani said Tehran wants to see an end to a conflict, and he said that Iran supports the Lebanese nation under all circumstances. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz initiated a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday, which reportedly lasted about an hour and revolved around different aspects of Russia-Ukraine conflict. Scholz urged Putin to pull his forces out of Ukraine and begin talks with Kyiv in their first phone call in nearly 2 years. The Kremlin confirmed the conversation. It said Putin had told Scholz any agreement to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict must take Russian security interests into account and reflect the new territorial realities. The German Chancellor urged Russia to show willingness to enter talks with the aim of achieving a just and lasting peace.
This conversation took place on the initiative of the German side. The political will to learn Russia's position firsthand is something that cannot but cause satisfaction. But at the same time, there were quite detailed discussions. First of all, on the Ukrainian theme, frank discussions, as we have said in our statement. So, of course, there are quite deep disagreements, but the very fact of the dialogue is very positive.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Scholz's call with Putin would open a quote-unquote Pandora's box for undermining efforts to isolate the Russian leader.
Chancellor Scholz told me that he was going to call Putin. Olaf's call, in my opinion, is Pandora box. Now there may be other conversations, other calls, just a lot of words. And this is exactly what Putin has long wanted. It is extremely important for him to weaken his isolation of Russia, and conduct talks as ordinary talks which won't have any result, the way he did it for decades.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa called the recent deaths of 6 children due to food-borne illnesses in Soweto last month a threat to national security. During an address to the nation, Ramaphosa said that South Africans had every right to be upset. The October deaths sparked calls for the government to intervene. Many of the children became ill after eating snacks that were tainted with pesticide, which they bought from informal corner shops known as spaza shops. The deaths have prompted calls for tighter food safety controls and stricter regulation of South Africa's informal retail sector. Sports news now. Sanju Samson and Tilak Verma starred with their centuries in a record partnership as India defeated South Africa by 135 runs in the 4th and final T20 International at Johannesburg on Friday. With the win, India has sealed the series 3-1. Visiting captain Suryakumar Yadav won the toss and opted to bat first against the Proteas, where India's innings was all about Tilak and Samson. 22-year-old Tilak Verma slammed 120 not out of 47 balls, while Sanju Samson scored 109 runs not out of 56 balls. They also put up a record second wicket partnership for 210 runs off 86 balls. Samson became the first ever batter in T20 international cricket to slam 3 centuries in a calendar year. The innings saw several other records also being made. In the chase of a mammoth 284, the Proteas were bundled out for 148 in 18.2 overs thanks to Arshdeep Singh's 3 for 20. Jake Paul won a unanimous decision over Mike Tyson as the hits did not match the hype in a fight between a young YouTuber turned boxer and the 58-year-old former heavyweight champion. The fight wasn't close on the judges' cards, with one giving Paul an 80-72 edge and the other two calling it 79-73. Tyson came onto Paul right after the opening bell and landed a couple of quick punches but did not try much else the rest of the way. All the hate from the pre-fight build-up was also gone, with Paul even stopping to pay homage with a bow to Tyson before the final bell sounded at the home of the NFL's Dallas Cowboys. It was the first sanctioned fight since 2005 for Tyson. Meanwhile, Paul started fighting a little more than 4 years ago. That's it then in this edition of DD India Live. Do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munin Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.